Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So as you would have seen by the title, I've purchased a very, very rare red BMW. Now the car I've actually purchased is becoming very, very sought after and very, very rare for the color, the chassis and the engine, and I now have one. And just to clarify with a lot of you guys, I still have all my other cars. I bought this because it come up very, very cheap for what kind of car it is. And I wanted to add it to my collection because I know many of you have asked me to get this car on the channel, not specifically the chassis, but the engine itself. And I will go over that in a minute once I reveal what car it is. So let's get on to the video.
Goddamn, get it done, will ya? Woo. When the blow up now, everybody's so unusual with it. Shit. But said times in his rhymes cause his memories. We running through New York, so you know.
Okay guys, so as you can see, sitting behind me is a red BMW. Now many of you are probably questioning what BMW is and why I haven't shown you it as of yet. Now I am here to tell you this is a very highly desirable BMW. Many people are actually targeting them and I was actually waiting for the right one to come up. I had been saving for a very, very long time until one of these come up in the right color, because I didn't just want your average color one, which is black, blue, white, anything like that. I wanted a color that was going to stand out and then can't be identified by another car, because as many of you guys know, when you buy this particular car in either blue or black, people think it's some replica, and I didn't want that. So that's why I wanted it in this specific color so it gets recognized and noticed. And I'm going to be telling you what car this is. Now, the car I've actually bought is a BMW E87, and I'll go over the car in a minute and show you what it is. And the reason I bought this car is purely because of the color and the engine underneath. Now, many of you have asked me to get this engine, and I will tell you right now, it is a BMW N43 engine. No, sorry, it's the N47 engine I purchased in this red BMW. Actually, no, it's the N53 engine. Actually, no, rephrase that. It's the N54 engine that sits underneath this red BMW E87. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna show you what engine it is instead of sitting there telling you what the engine it is. But many of you guys will be very, very happy when you see the engine underneath, as many of you didn't expect me to actually buy this. Many of you didn't actually expect me to get the engine that's actually underneath this car. So let's get onto it and I'll show you around the car. So if you can see here guys, this is the BMW E87. Now this is the M Sport version 1, and this is an E87 which is the hatchback version which Europe get and the UK. Now I know many of you are not going to be happy with this because it don't apply to a lot of you in the US, but it does apply because you get the E82 and the E88, which is the convertible and the saloon style. Now inside and underneath, it's exactly like an E90. Everything on these uses the same modules from the E90, so be it the JBE and the FRM. Everything inside is basically like an E90, just this is a hatchback car. That's the only difference. So everything on this will apply to you guys in the US as well. Now this is an M Sport version, so it comes with the angel eyes, obviously the body kit as well, and all the nicer interior than your average basic one. And I will go ahead and show you all that right now. So you can see here as well, this has got the nice diffuser at the rear. Now, many of you are going to ask me what year this car is. This is an LCI model, so this is a 2008 BMW E87 that I actually purchased. And I will go over the interior and show you inside the interior. This is a 2008 one. The bodywork is absolutely pristine on it. As I said, it's very hard to find any BMW in this kind of condition in the UK, especially in an E87, because a lot of them have been messed with, but this one was not. Now, many of you are probably already guessing what engine's underneath it, but I can tell you right now, please wait before you actually jump to conclusions, because a lot of you will be surprised at what engine's actually underneath the bonnet here. So if you can see the wheels, it's got all the M Sport wheels. You can see all the paintwork as I go along. It's absolutely spotless and unmarked. Everything is literally gleaming. It's very rare to find a car in this condition, and as I said, I will go over the engine side in a minute and I'll tell you everything about the engine. This, obviously all the tyres are brand new on it as well. The only thing we're going to have to sort out is this bumper right here, because whoever's took it off or whatever's happened hasn't been realigned properly, and this was one of the reasons I think it was going cheap as well, because of that reason, because this needs to be addressed completely, because As you can see, it's got quite a gap between the fender and the bumper, so that's something I'm going to need to address. As you can see, it's got the xenons and the angel eyes. See all the bumper there. Number plate is covered because this is my missus' car and she doesn't want a number plate in it. I actually bought it for her, but obviously it's going to be on the channel as well. See all around how unmarked it is. Tires are literally like brand new. See all around here on the driver's side as well. Everything is literally pristine condition. And you're probably thinking, why did this person even sell the car? I don't know. That's the truth of it. I bought it and I'm very, very happy with the way it's come out. Everything is literally pristine and spotless. Now going into the interior, you can see right here, it's got the M Sport steering wheel. You've also got the paddle shifters, which many of you probably wasn't expecting it to have. Now this isn't a manual. You can see here, we've got the professional radio, which I'm gonna need to upgrade because the pixels are a bit temperamental on the radio, which is common. We've also got the knobs, the radio knobs, which are not very badly faded and just need to be sorted out. So we are gonna be changing the radio and I'm gonna be putting USB and aux in this. You can also see here, it's got the climate control. It's only got parking sensors, don't have the heated seats, doesn't have the nav, it's only got the little cubby holder at the top. Start, stop, you can see there, it's just your normal average E87, E82, E88. You can see it's LCI because it's got the carbon fiber trim, which is all around on this car. We've got the cup holders already in here as well. So everything is basically very, very nice in here. And to be honest, I got this very, very cheap for what it is, especially being a 2008 model. I don't think you'd find another one this cheap going, especially with not everything's had done, which I'll go over in a second. You also see here, it's got the fold down headrests, which flip up. My M135i had them. It's also got the split folding seats, so you can open the rear seats as well. On this, it's a very, very nice car indeed and been very, very well looked after. Got one of the door seals here that's kind of damaged and rubbed off, which we'll have to replace as well. So you get a good drift of how the car looks inside. Also in here, you can see it's got the M door seals, kick plates right there. As I said, the interior is a very, very nice place to be. And as you would expect, it's a very quick car because it's very light. So it's been very well looked after by the previous owners, and that is no crap either. And I will tell you why in a second. So let's go ahead and open the bonnet so I can show you what engine is actually sitting underneath this BMW E87. So let's pull the bonnet. And now it's time to reveal what engine is underneath this red BMW E87. And this is the engine that sits under this BMW E87. Now, if many of you are thinking this is the N53, it is not. This is the BMW N52K engine with the plastic valve cover. As many of you guys would know in the US, which is what you get in your 328 XIs, 128 XIs, 128i's, 528 XIs. I purchased a BMW 130i in the UK in red with this blacktop M52 engine. Now, many of you would not believe how long I've been waiting for one of these to come up on the market because I didn't want another BMW with a silver M52 engine. That's purely because I wanted to have an engine that relates to you guys in the US, especially with the plastic valve cover, and I've gone and done that. Now, as many of you guys know, this one, all of you have, but there is one bad point about this car. And the one bad point about this is everything has been done. Fortunately, the last owner has just done the water pump, thermostat, a new battery, a new starter motor, and also the rear main seal, and also the rocker cover, and a new rocker cover gasket, because as many of you guys know, it's a plastic one. It's all been addressed already, including, it's got full history of this car. It's had everything maintained. I say I don't need nothing. I've got every receipt about the amount of money he spent on it. He spent £1,300 just with the water pump and thermostat. He spent another £1,000 with the valve cover and the gearbox removal because the garage misdiagnosed it and thought the leak was coming from the rear main seal because it's coming from the back of the valve cover over here and leaking downwards. So they took the whole gearbox out, Only to notice it was the valve cover, so they replaced the rear main seal at the same time. It's had the oil filter housing gasket and oil cooler gasket at the same time as the valve cover was replaced. So that's another thing I don't need to worry about. The only things I need to keep an eye on is the Vanos solenoids and the dissers. This is one of the reasons I purchased this car. When it come up, I couldn't resist it because it had every single thing done, backed with receipts. And the guy had spent over $4,000 in the last year just replacing everything this car actually needed. And that's one of the reasons I purchased it. Now, that's not to say it doesn't need no work. It just doesn't need any jobs doing on the engine side itself, which is a big relief because I didn't want to focus too much on the engine jobs on this. And that's one of the reasons I purchased it, because I wanted a car that I could just drive for once and everything's already been done for me. Now, as I said, we do have to focus on this bumper and correcting it because, as you can see, it's just not sitting properly, and I'm really not happy about that. So this bumper will be coming off. We've also got an issue with this headlight, which keeps turning itself off, which is one of the xenon bulbs. It keeps turning off, which I've got a funny feeling is the ballast, which sits underneath the headlight and slots in. We'll be diagnosing that and finding out what the issue is right there. When I first got the car and scanned it, I actually thought it was a problem with the FRM or JBE, which again isn't an issue for me because I've got some already on my bench, which I use for my test bench. So I'm not worried about, even if it was a problem, I'll just shove it in and the job's done. So it was an issue and I'd repair the other ones, but it isn't a problem with the FRM. As I said, starter motor's been done on this. This did have a lot of fault codes because where people had tried to jump start it, because as many of you guys know, starter motors fail on these. They've got a solenoid which connects to the cast. People have been trying to jump it thinking it wasn't a starter, thought it was a flat battery. So the guy replaced the new battery in this. He done a new starter motor. It was diagnosed as a new starter and they put a new battery and a new starter motor in it. So he's only just had that done as well. So that needs addressing, just the bumper and that headlight. We've also got the interior, the radio needs sorting out. We're going to be putting Bluetooth and USB in there. So I'm going to be taking out the whole center console and doing a proper genuine BMW retrofit. So then this car will have Bluetooth and USB all together. We're also going to be sorting out all the steering wheel trim on here because, as you can see, this one's all faded as well. So new one's already been ordered and on the way. We also need to do a transmission service on this, because the transmission was removed, but they only topped it up by 2 litres from what I saw on the receipt, and that's because they unplugged the cooler line, so that was just to re-top that back up. So even though there's no problems with the gearbox, you don't feel it shifting on the paddles, and it shifts so nicely, I'm still gonna get it sorted anyway, because obviously it's overdue. In the rear of the boot, you'll see here, we've got another problem which is common, which is the boot struts. As you can see, they're not going up properly, so they take a little while to go up. In the rear here, you can see here we've got a brand new Bosch battery, which is always what I recommend. This guy, don't know if you watch my videos, but it's got the exact kind of battery that I usually put in all my BMs, which is the Bosch grey one, which is now in here. That's a brand new battery. We've also got in here as well the CD changer, which is in the boot. This one comes with a 6 CD changer. And as you can see, it's got a lot of space in the boot here. This is one of the reasons why I wanted one of these. Also, you can see there as well, it's got a nice exhaust on it. Now, something about the exhaust which I'll go over right now is this has had a stainless steel cross section put on, because obviously they needed to remove the cross section on the exhaust to be able to get to the transmission to take it out, and obviously the bolt's broken, all the pipe was, they had to cut it off, so they ended up putting a stainless steel section in. But it sounds really nice and aggressive on these. I'm telling you something, I couldn't be happier with the car I've actually purchased. I always wanted one of these, and as I said, it is my missus' car. It's not mine, but it's obviously going to be here on the channel all the time, and I will be using it as well and doing a load of things to it. It needs a lot of work cosmetically doing to it, but once it's done, it's going to end up a very nice car. And as I said, guys, I couldn't be happier with it. Bodywork wise, it's absolutely mint and perfect, apart from this bumper and obviously sorting that headlight, which you'll be seeing on the next video. So there you have it, guys. I purchased the BMW E87 130i. Now, many of you are probably curious about the mileage. Well, the mileage on this car is 140,000 miles. And I am quite glad it's actually on high mileage, because someone else has done all the work that I would have had to do on 140,000 miles. Now, when he gave me all the receipts, which is all this work was only done in October last year, when he gave me the receipts, the money I gave him for the car, which many of you are asking, I actually paid £4,000 for this car. Now, I know many of you are gonna say that's a lot of money. Some of you are gonna say it's not a lot based on what the car is. And that's true. That's one of the reasons I gave it. The reason I gave that much for this car was purely because it's had everything done. Now, I know Many of you are going to sit here and say to me, the whole idea you purchase a car is for content, but there is still content to make on this. Cosmetically, I want to do a lot of retrofits, so I've got the power fold and mirror retrofit I want to do on this. I want to put in electric seats on this. I want to do the Bluetooth and USB as well on this, and also DAB is another thing I want to be retrofitting on this BMW E87. Now, there is a lot we are going to be doing. Like I said, the bumper is the first one, and so is the headlight, because obviously the headlight has to come first, because that's like a major component you keep turning on and off, especially when you're driving. So that's one of the first things we are going to get on to sorting, which is the headlight. And you'll be seeing that in the next upcoming video of me taking the bumper off, realigning the bumper and sorting out that headlight that keeps turning on and off, which is going to be an easy fix. I've already got the parts on the way for it, and we will sort that as soon as it arrives. Obviously, I will be installing other few bits and pieces. Obviously, bodywork wise, I don't have to worry about it. Tires, I don't need to worry about it. Brakes have all been done as well. Just when it come up, the price of it, giving the guy £4,000, I thought was worth it all there, especially bearing in mind all this money had only just been spent on the water pump, on the thermostat and everything else, you know, last year alone. And, you know, just giving him that money back was basically everything he had spent on the car, labor, parts. So really, I've got a bargain for a car here. I don't have to touch it mechanically at all. I'm just gonna probably just change the oil, because that was changed last October. Just change the oil, get that done. That's probably the only thing that I'd actually need doing. Once that's done, that's about all this car needs. Engine wise, it's got a full service history, so every single stamp from new. It hasn't missed one stamp in the service book at all. So that's what I mean. This car is absolutely perfect. It just needs a few things to tidy it up. So I hope you guys actually like the new car I've actually purchased for the channel. As you see, it is a BMW E87 130i with the N52K engine with the black engine cover. So thank you very much for watching, guys. It's BMW Dr. Dean here, and goodbye.